Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you. My name is Dante Larini. I'm project manager here at the Swiss Pavilion and in charge of Swissnex at the Swiss Pavilion here. It's a pleasure to host you today for our events. Let me share with you a few information about Swissnex. Swissnex is an agency of the Swiss government to promote Swiss education, research, and innovation abroad and connect it with equivalents from other innovative hotspots on our globe. As you know, for 6 months, the Expo 2020 is one of these hotspots in terms of innovation, and this is our job here, to present, not only put together innovative startups, companies, and Swiss universities, and put them together with equivalents from the UAE, the Middle East, and the entire world. So today, we speak about the circular economy and how to accommodate urban infrastructures accordingly in our cities. As you know, a lot of cities are gently overcoming the hurdle of managing waste, of managing resources, water, electricity. However, a lot is to be made. And so today, we're looking at this through the eyes of urban infrastructures. And moderating this panel, giving us the framework to do so, is Professor Matthias Finger from the IGLUS Center of the EPFL. IGLUS is a world-renowned center to study the urban infrastructures in terms of mobility, water, energy. And today, Professor Finger will share more information and host the discussions between our partners from Switzerland and the UAE. Without further ado, Professor Finger, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dante, for the introduction and for hosting us here. I need to stand. It's difficult. I'm not used to stand at one single place, but okay. So thank you for being here. I will make one slide of introduction to frame everything. The framework is the one that we use at IGLUS, Innovative Governance of Large Urban Systems. As Dante said, this is an executive training program started at EPFL, but based at EPFL Middle East now. And so we are very happy to organize this panel, and that really goes into the framework of what we're doing. So I mean, I rearrange this each time for this, but I think at the urban, energy is really at the center. We consume energy, so everything, I can draw the same picture differently. When I do a transport model, then I put transport at the center. But still, I think objectively, energy is the issue. And so, wastewater, we could turn it into energy and diminish or make better use of waste. And we had a panel. We had a panel 2 days ago on waste management here, and some of the panelists are here. Then water. Water is energy. Especially here, desalination, transport of water, but water recycling, that's the other arrow. Water turns eventually into wastewater, and then we close that circle. Then housing and heating, but I should put, that's the IGLUS name, we should put cooling, but it's still energy. And we consume energy, but we can also, at least from heating, from the houses, we can give back energy. We can put solar cells on the houses. We can do a lot of things with the houses to diminish the consumption of energy, to produce energy. Then I add something that is not usually put within the urban infrastructure framework, but within IGLUS we are very convinced that green infrastructures should be considered in the same way as all the other infrastructures. They have to be built, they have to be maintained, they have to be operated, and they have functions in the urban system for cooling, for example, shade, depolluting, and that has an inventory. Water absorption, that's the link to wastewater, stormwater, deal with the things, conserving water, cooling houses, all this. So for us, green infrastructures are part of the urban infrastructure. This is not environmental protection. This is simply a function of the overall urban system. And then maybe a little bit outside, but very much related to energy is transport. Okay? And so we have a system, an urban infrastructure system, and a circular economy results from the possibility of the links of this system. And my last thing is digitalization, which cuts across everything. We have digital water, digital trees, digital transport, all that. And the reason I put it like this is because at the digital level, you can bring all these things much better together than before. Okay, think about transport. We can put the transport modes together, but we can put transport and energy together. We use this concept, city as a platform, where you basically coordinate all these. So digitalization is everywhere. Digitalization accelerates the circular economy, facilitates it. So smart cities, if you want, is absolutely part of the picture when we talk about the circular urban economy. Okay, we have, as you see, it's a systemic view, and that's exactly what we want to do in this panel. So we have the pleasure of having 6 speakers today. They will make short presentations, and from there we will have a panel discussion, which I will moderate. Anita, Nouri, but I have a hard time reading what I wrote there now. It's too far. CEO and founding partner of Green Energy Solutions and Sustainability here in Dubai. And I just put a keyword there, landfill gas to energy, but you are broader, but I think that's sort of the link. Ramzi Bouzerda is here, a degree from EPFL. I have not managed to find all your profiles on LinkedIn, so some are missing. Ramzi is the CEO and founder of Droople, a Swiss-based company, and you will explain us the decentralized water, the Internet of Water. I found that word on your internet website. I liked it very much. Araiji, managing director of Hitachi, sorry, there's an H missing, Zosen Inova, Middle East, and energy from waste. Then we have Andrea Di Gregorio. He's an engineer. I think most of you are engineers. Executive Director of Energy Efficiency and Renewables at Ras Al Khaimah. That's where EPFL Middle East is based. And I think energy, you will talk a lot about energy efficiency. And then Sami Najjar, also an engineer, CEO and founder of Stignergy, Swiss-based company with smart energy management systems. And we have a 6th speaker, which was added later on the program, and I don't have the picture here. His name is Emmanuel Thomas, and from LTS, a company in Switzerland, but you will explain what you do. So without further ado, I would give the floor to the first, to the first speaker. Good. So please, Anita. You have to, I don't know, desalinate the microphone. Yeah, but
you can keep that.
Okay, good. Whatever.
Thank you so much. and welcome everybody. We're in a room of friends, and I'm happy to be here speaking to everybody about circular economy in waste management, which is a little bit of a misnomer because it's very difficult to be circular in waste management. But I'd like to first bring the attention to everybody here. How many plastic water bottles are you seeing beside you and all over the place? At Expo 2020, that is supposed to be sustainable. It's very disheartening. And as I get on with my topic, you'll see why. So we're going to, oops, I have to do this, right? There you go. So my company is called Green Energy Solutions and Sustainability. We are managing the landfill gas to energy project at the Alkım landfill. This landfill I'll use as a case example. It's a dump site that has been recognized as being an environmental landfill that is reducing the impact of CO2 emissions into the atmosphere. CO2 emissions from landfills are a direct result of human activity, and methane is a greenhouse gas that's 28 times more harmful than CO2. And we are flaring the gas, and our objective was always not to create more landfills, but to take that gas and actually generate power from it. So we are powering our site and Dubai Municipality site offices, and we are doing the most environmental thing that we can, but is a landfill really sustainable? And how does landfilling our waste support circular economy? That is the question. So, plastic waste. Like I said, we have a bunch of plastic bottles all over the place here. How can we reduce the amount of single-use plastic? How can we reduce the impact that we has on the environment? This is a simple solution, a simple thing. Government legislation can immediately stop plastic bags. They can do it. They can say it. Someone is making money. So when economics gets involved in renewables and economics gets involved in sustainable development, then it changes the picture, and it's a difficult process. You can see in the pictures what the landfill used to look like, how much waste is coming, and how much of that waste is plastic. So we can ask each other and support reduction strategies. Do we really need the straws? Do we really need the bags? Can we reduce and reuse the amount of packaging? There is packaging available from recycled materials made from paper waste. They cost a bit more because doing the right thing always costs a little bit more. So we have to not swallow that cost, but we have to justify the cost. It's a corporate social responsibility. It's a global social responsibility. Circular economy and waste management. What does circular economy mean? It's essentially the recycling of materials. So recycling of materials from waste. And we need to close the loop. So there are initiatives, there are bins, there are places we can reduce, and we think that we're doing the right thing. We hope that we're doing the right thing. We throw our plastics where the plastics are supposed to go. But just as an example, sorry, I'm going to step away from here for a minute. This plastic bottle has 3 types of plastic. So when it's emptied and we throw it in the waste bin, are we really recycling this plastic bottle? The cap is a different plastic, the paper, this plastic paper is different, and the bottle is different. And then when you throw it into the plastic waste bin and someone throws a food package that's full of food waste in with it, then it's not recyclable anymore. So what we've thought we're doing right, we're not. So the best solution is get rid of these, use refillable water bottles, have free water all over the city with all the technologies that can produce clean water, and let people refill their bottles. This will help with COVID. This will help with all kinds of human-created pandemics. There are standards that are available to help support the economy of recycling. One of them that I've mentioned here is the VERA, which is the plastic standards in VERA. And you can monetize it if you quantify it. So if you can count what you're doing, have it verified, then you can actually monetize it, and that money can go back into the recycling process, back into your process of doing the right thing, and it can support the economy. Someone asked me a little bit earlier today about the carbon market, and is there going to be a regional carbon market? There is a lot of discussion about it. Masdar is involved with it. Saudi Arabia is pushing it. And Saudi Arabia, by the way, is the sleeping giant that has watched all of us do what we have done, learned from our mistakes, hopefully, which we all should, and has now stood up. So however many years it took us, and I've been working at the Koussais landfill now for 12 years, that 12 years for them will be 12 minutes. And they will stand up and they will do the right thing. But we need to support each other. Sustainable waste management, next slide, is the target that we have set for ourselves is zero waste, net zero. Zero waste to landfill. Will this ever happen? It's a difficult process. Can it happen? We all hope that it can happen, but let's start with reducing it. First, you can see right there all those plastic bottles that I talked about, and you can tell just from my speaking, plastic is a big issue for me. So the plastic bag will live in a landfill for 500 years. The bottle, 450 years or plus. Our great-great-grandchildren will be gone, and our plastic water bottle will still be there. We will be judged. So what is archaeology? It's a study of human history. We're going to be judged 1,000 years from now by the most destructive generation of time. But we have the choice to change that. We can become the most constructive generation of time. We can actually work together. We can support each other. All renewables should support each other. Roni, who's going to speak a little bit later, has an incineration technology that can take the waste and actually burn it. That has residuals that can have value. That value is precious metals. It can be reused. It can go as road base. We can reduce what's going to the landfill. We can degas the landfill. We can make power from it. We can. The word is that we can, and we must, because the time is coming that we must. Community awareness, education equals action. I'm nearly finished. This is my last slide. So we need to speak up. Don't be scared, especially the young people, and especially all the women that I see in the audience. This is inspiring for me, because women are the caretakers of the families and the world. So when you get into environmental sciences, it's a natural for women because, you know, we like to take control and we like to tell people what to do. So now we can all work together, work beside each other. Construction, the industry that I'm in, is always going to be male-oriented, but does that mean there's no place for women? Absolutely, there is a place. We need to work side by side because we think different. Men think different, women think different, but together we can think the right way. And that's what I'm going to leave you with. Take action, use the recycling centers. If you see something wrong, tell the people, tell the governments, demand what's right, and take action yourselves. We're the decision makers, and let's make a change. And just to quote Nike, just do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anita.
No plastic bottle.
Yes, it's why I came with that. Thank you, Anita, for a lot of things that you introduced and explained. Yes. Hello, everyone.
Microphone.
Sorry. It works? Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Hello, everyone.
My name is Ramzi. I'm CEO founder of Droople, and I will explain a bit what does it mean, Internet of Water, and how we are committed to make water matter to people. So Droople, in a nutshell, is a B2B IoT company that retrofit water assets, 36 billion water assets off radar today, sanitary ware, water appliances, filtration systems, to monitor them, predict their maintenance, and enable water and energy savings. That's in one sentence. Now, I will explain you how we do that and our vision. Of course, as Professor has said before, as Anita explained also, a sustainable future is not possible without water. We cannot live more than 3 days without appropriate hydration and clean water. And of course, the future is going toward more people in cities. We will live, 70% of the world population will live in cities by 2050. And the number of buildings will double by that time frame, meaning that we are building New York City every single month. You imagine New York City, we are building it every single month globally to reach that target of 70% of the world population in 2050 and even more in 2060. Now, we talked about energy in the middle of this nexus. And the nexus here is about energy. That's right, water is energy. Water and energy is water. And actually, water has a dual issue related to availability and related to quality. And this is the same piece of the problem, same two faces of one single problem. Even though you have available water, but it's not clean to use for processing, for drinking, then you cannot make a use of it. And if you have a clean water, but not sufficient, then you have also an issue. And we forget a bit that in water, as we said, it's the driver, is the most, and this is our strong belief at Droople, that water is the most intimate proxy of human behavior. We can at Droople assess if you wash your hands after using a toilet. I can assess if you have a good health using water in your daily basis, in your home, for example. We can predict what is your behavior according to using the heating. We can use your behavior to better manage hot water supply according to your hot water demand. So the Internet of Water is centered on how the behavior of your occupants, of people, can drive the efficiency and the optimization. We talked about digitalization, we talked about orchestration, but actually at the end of the day, we are all here, human being, that drives this digitalization, this orchestration, and we are at the center of the change. You have 4 pillars. One is technology. We need technology to build a sustainable future. That's for sure. We need business model. That's also for sure. If you cannot make it viable economically, you cannot make a sustainable change. That's for sure. Another pillar is the human mindset and the human factor. You can make the best technology. You can make the best business model. But at the end, if we are not buying this, adopting this, it won't change anything. So, today, we measure, most of the time, water consumption at the entry of the buildings. We know approximately how much water has entered that building, but where that water goes, how we used it, was it appropriate? Did we waste it? And how we can make a better use of that information to optimize the footprint of the building itself and make aware people about their behavior and how they can better behave. That's the key question we would like to solve at Droople, and how we would like to do it is by connecting those assets with technology, with appropriate business model. But I'm sure you're all thinking, this man is crazy. He would like to connect all those assets. Actually, it is possible. Today we do it in a retrofit way. We are talking in the future to make it built-in technology, so Drupal inside in those assets, to actually make it a viable business model, to bring value for the end customer, for the service provider that is selling and maintaining those assets, but also for the manufacturer, because today they don't have any data on how we use their products. And finally, there is a huge invisible economy here, is all the consumables attached to those water assets. We are talking about cartridges of filters, aeromembranes, paper, toilet, gel, anything that is used through the proxy of water usage. So you can better predict, supply those consumables thanks to understanding how water usage, quality and quantity parameters, how we can better predict, how we can better automate the procurement of those consumables. So really the water usage is the driver, is really the proxy, and is driving this new economy. So now I will go quick because I made the speech that actually put a frame. Of course, we can discuss later on. But just to give you some numbers now, just because we are not able to match hot water and consumption and production in a building, we are losing today more than 20% of energy and then, of course, money. Operations, 30% of unplanned maintenance today for water assets because we don't know how we can better maintain them. It means a lot of money lost for service providers. And infrastructure, water leakage we can detect, but now we are with our solution, with our grid intelligence, we can localize leakage, and then it's more efficient. I will go. So our solution today is a combination of IoT, AI, to provide a full service that delivers predictive maintenance, automated procurement, and water and energy savings. We have an interesting use case with schools and where we actually implement our technology. And here we have our partner, Water Alliance. I would like to thank them, and we are very proud to support them here in UAE to make education, to integrate water conservation in the education. We are able to give them insights on how they do with hand wash. We do also for water dispensing, we were talking about single-use plastic water, a good example, and we are in Amsterdam right now to showcase this new product to how better educate people to consume less single-use plastic bottled water and use dispensing systems. And we provide those key insights live to also change behavior. And pretty much that's it. I won't bother you with all those details. We can discuss them. We are already serving 80 customers on 3 continents. A great team. Without them, we can do nothing. And the end of the last word would be from blindness, we have to go to awareness. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm very pleased to be today here, and I would like to thank Dante and Mr. Finger and EPL to make this event happen. The aim of my presentation is already to show you our technology, our Swiss technology, what we do. With our technology, we are protecting the environment, we are reducing the waste. Unfortunately, we are generating a lot of waste. Before I will start my presentation talking about the technology, give you a quick introduction what we do in Switzerland. In Switzerland, we generate per day per capita around 0.63 kilogram for the municipal solid waste. 51% of the waste will be recycled. We take the plastic, we reuse it, and then we go back to the recycle industry. 49% of the waste of the garbage will go to the incineration. If we take the Middle East, especially where we are now in the GCC, unfortunately, we generate a lot of waste. If we take Saudi Arabia, Anita was mentioning Saudi Arabia, per day, the people there are generating over 2 kilograms per day, comparing to Switzerland. They are generating over 18 million tons per year. It's a municipal solid waste. If you go, what they are doing with the waste? Dumping. In Switzerland, we have a nice mountain. In Riyadh, unfortunately, you see mountain of garbage. The government is really facing a lot of issues, infrastructure issues. They are forced to do something. UAE is a pioneer country, not only in the GCC, worldwide. I will explain you later why. Really, we should be proud to be here. It's really country looking for the future and long term. They are bringing the best technology, best innovation to treat the waste and to protect their environment. Now let me go to my presentation to show you first who we are. We have a Japanese name, but we are a Swiss company. The company was established in 1933 in Switzerland by Mr. von Roll. We built the first waste-to-energy project in the world was in 1937 in Netherlands, in Dordrecht. It's over 80 years. And then here in 1960, we signed a license agreement with a Japanese company, Hitachi Zosen Corporation, to use the Swiss technology only in Japan. And then the first waste-to-energy project in Japan was built by Hitachi Zosen Corporation in 1965. In 2010, we became a company of Hitachi Zosen Corporation. We changed our name from Hitachi Zosen Corporation to Hitachi Zosen Inova. We are Japanese Swiss company. The owner are Japanese. We are Swiss. Our technology is made in Switzerland, not made in Japan. Owner are Japanese, operational. We are 100% operational from Switzerland. What we do, we are in the environmental sector. We are a very unique company. We can do everything. We can design our plants in one house in Zurich. We have over 600 people doing the whole design worldwide. What we do again, energy from waste, municipal solid waste. Also, we can renewable gas, taking the anaerobic digestion, can produce gas, CNG, hydrogen, CO2 capture. It's all related to renewable gas. As I mentioned earlier, we have over 80 years experience. What we do, we design, we build and operate. And in some project, we invest money, like Dubai project, we are investing money here. We have 4 assets worldwide in waste to energy. Number of employees in Switzerland, we are around 1,200 people. Worldwide, we have over 900 references in the world. If you talk about waste to energy references, we have over around 2,000 plants, and our company was involved in over 950 plants. We are a global leader. We are number 1. It's Swiss, our Swiss technology everywhere implemented in the world. Especially in China, we have over a market share over 50%. Okay, garbage, waste. If I talk to my kids home, garbage, it's nothing, not nice. It is, when I start 20 years ago working with a company in Zurich, I was a site and commissioning manager. First time I went, it was in 2002, I went to Sweden and then start with the waste. Smelly here. It's really smelly. it's what to do. But when I saw when we start to treat the waste and I saw what is coming out, energy, I was really very, very surprised and very impressed. And I understood at this time, it's the waste. It's really energy. From waste we can generate energy. It's not only energy, you are protecting our environment. You see what's the people, if you go to in the forest, everywhere the garbage, what to do with this garbage? As Anita explained, if you take the plastic over 500 years to get rid of it. And I was really enjoying my work, what I am doing. I spent 10 years building plant in Europe. I was involved over 10 waste to energy project. And I was a garbage man. I was in France, everywhere, seeing the garbage, what is coming on our plant and what we are generating out from the plant. What we can see from 1 ton waste, municipal solid waste, we can generate around 800 kilowatt electricity. If you want to generate it in the existing power generation plant in the UAE or Saudi Arabia, to generate 100 kilowatt, we need around 108 barrel of oil. And unfortunately, what they are doing in the GCC, they are dumping their energy in the desert and using their gold to generate electricity. That is an issue, because from the waste, we can not only protect our environment, it's energy. And of course, we can combine technologies, waste to energy with desalination plant, and we can generate also drinking water. Very easy how it works, such kind of technology. I don't have time to go in details, but if you are interested, we can have side discussions, and I will share with you after my business card, if you are more interested also to share with you more information. What we do as a company, we are not responsible to transport the waste, and we are not responsible for landfill. The government or our customer should bring the waste to us, and we'll take care of it. From 1 ton waste, we can, as I mentioned earlier, we can generate electricity, no need additional fuel to treat the waste. What we do, we take the stinky air, the dusty from the waste bunker, we heat it and we inject it in the combustion room. In the power generation plant, here they are treating gas or crude oil to generate electricity. Here is our waste, is our energy. And we have a flue gas. The flue gas is very aggressive, as you know. It's a lot of heavy metals, mercury, chlor. We cannot send it in the chimney like this, need to be clean. And with the pioneer Swiss technology, we can clean the gas environmental friendly, and then we can install such plant or build such plant in the city. I can show you after example in where we have this plant in Zurich, 3 minutes from our office is a waste to energy plant. And this plant, what you are seeing here, is a ferry bridge. It's the highest efficient plant in the world. From 1 ton waste, we can generate 1.1 megawatt electricity. This plant is the largest waste to energy project in London. It is to treat in UK to treat 2,300 tons per day. The plant is located in the Thames River. It is 80% of the waste will be delivered by vessel. And the idea from the Municipality of London to reduce the truck circulation in the river. In the city of London, and they bring waste via vessel. And this plant will generate around 1.2% of the electricity of London. This is a small reference in Edinburgh, in UK. It's a small plant. It's 150,000 tons per year. This plant is in UK. Also, you can see the design. It is really look very interesting. The mayor of the city, I was involved in this project next to Newcastle. He liked the Chinese design, and then he asked us to design the plant for the city as a Chinese design. This plant treats 250,000 tons per year. This plant is in Dublin, in UK, to treat 600,000 tons per year. This is again Ferry Bridge, the highest efficient plant in the world, and the next one, the highest number one in the world after 1 year will be Dubai project, Dubai plant. This small plant is in Breisgau in Germany, a very nice area. It's on the border to Switzerland and to France. Oh, that is very special plant. It is in Osaka. When we start to build this plant in 2000, a lot of people were against waste to energy. Because I thought waste, what we need to do here, waste in our city, we need emissions, smelly, dusty, is not allowed. And it was a long discussion, government to government, also to the municipality, to show the people is environmental friendly. And they decided to build this plant, special design. This plant, you can go shopping, you can go in, you have a kindergarten, you have a restaurant, And it's very amazing. I visited by myself 3 years. It is, you go there, it's a shopping mall, but in the reality, you are treating your waste there. And now everybody after 5 years operation, they made again, the government, the Osaka municipality asks the people here, what do you think of the waste to energy? When before they start was 86 people against, and when after 5 years operation, 95% was with waste to energy. And now we are building another one in Osaka. Good, very quick, that is in Thun, very nice in Switzerland. You can see the plant, and behind the Swiss Alps in a very touristic area. And then from waste to energy, we not only generating electricity as energy, we can send also hot water in winter. This plant is very special in Paris, in Issy-les-Moulineaux. It's 1,500 tons. It's located next to the Eiffel Tower, and you can see here we send hot water for 60,000 apartments, and you can see from my office here the build from the Eiffel Tower. Very environmental friendly. We can put the plant in the city. Again, that is here in Roosendaal in Holland. That is in Istanbul. Now is in operation, 1 million tons. That's the largest one in Europe, and now Abu Dhabi they are going to tend a similar plant, 1 million tons per year. And this is in Moscow. Again, everywhere we are building plants. And this is the most beautiful project in the world. This plant is the largest waste-to-energy project in the world. We treat here 1.9 million tons per year. 50% of the waste from Dubai will be treated here. We take the waste from next to Anita plant. The garbage from there will go to this plant. And then we generate from this plant 2% electricity of Dubai. It's a pioneer technology. It's the best technology ever. And Anita, here I want to correct you. You are talking about Saudi. Saudi is a huge market, but trust me, the pioneer is here. They have the best technology in the world. Saudi is watching, but we are now in the execution. Okay, very quick. I have still 1 minute, but I would like to show you a quick movie to give you a summary about Dubai government and what they are doing. Please, if you can put the movie for the waste management. Can you put the sound, please?
Initiated by the founding father, Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, may God have mercy on him, who created a unique land which has been transformed from a once desert into a vibrant nation. The United Arab Emirates has always strived to maintain its unique and leading position in the global arena, which has been headed by the city of Dubai under the guidance of the wise leadership to lead the march of progress and innovation in the region as a smart and sustainable city. The strong leadership of the UAE allowed it to continuously occupy leading positions in global rankings in the fields of economy, investment, and tourism. It was keen to attract and implement the latest technologies and re-engineer them to suit the operational and environmental conditions of the region, which made it a source of technology re-export and has launched a spirit of competition, creativity, and unlimited giving. The wise vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, was demonstrated in terms of building for the future and developing local skills by creating sustainable solutions for the urban development and population growth of the Emirate of Dubai. In accordance with strategic plans and the vision of its wise leadership, Dubai Municipality has launched a solid waste-to-energy project that will achieve several strategic goals and pillars, including environmental preservation, reducing carbon emissions, diverting waste from landfills, rehabilitating lands for investment, and achieving Dubai's clean energy strategy. This project will be a global first in terms of treated waste capacity, and the first to be engineered and constructed in a single batch, adopting the latest and most advanced global technologies in the field. After a thorough review of available global technologies in the field of waste management and treatment, a joint venture comprising Hitachi, Zosen, Inova, Swiss-Japanese, in partnership with B6 Group in Belgium and Belhassa 6 Construct in Dubai, undertook the operation of this project, located in the Warsaw area, with one of the highest thermal transformation efficiency rates in the world at 28%. All construction and building work will be delivered in 2020. The project aims to make the Emirate of Dubai the world's most sustainable and intelligent city by means of treating 1.82 million tons of solid waste annually, with a total net capacity of 185 megawatts of electricity, capable of providing power to 120,000 homes. And roughly 2% of the annual electricity consumption in Dubai. The plant is highly efficient in treating solid waste, will be a source of clean and sustainable energy, and will significantly contribute to the conserve of natural resources and the rights of future generations to live in a safe and clean environment that will provide sustainable living. This project is one of Dubai's pioneering projects in this field and will be a unique addition to a long line of significant achievements of the Emirate of Dubai that will enhance its regional and global reputation and leadership, and will provide unlimited opportunities for the residents of Dubai, ensuring a better life for its next generations.
Thank you very much, and I would be pleased to take your question after.
Good morning, everybody. In my short presentation, I will give a little bit of insights into what Ras Al Khaimah is doing in the field of energy and how this is connected with circular economy. I like one of Professor Matthias' slides showing energy a little bit in the center of this. It is, in fact. I will, first of all, are you familiar with Ras Al Khaimah? How many of you have been in Ras Al Khaimah? Okay, so quite a few. For those who have not been, Ras Al Khaimah is the northernmost emirate in the UAE. It has a population of about 400,000 people, a growing economy with a large share of manufacturing. So this is quite central in the circular economy, especially in the impact on climate change. So this is a place where a lot of things will need to happen in the coming decades for the objectives of prevention of climate change. This is our representation of the strategy of Ras Al Khaimah for energy. You see it is a lot of, it is a journey. There is a little bit of scarcity of water, as you see. But, it is a journey to a new Ras Al Khaimah, to a more sustainable Ras Al Khaimah. There are objectives of saving 30% energy, 20% water, and having 20% of the electricity provided through renewable sources. These targets will need to be also revisited in light of the new aspirations of net zero by 2050. So there is going to be a new strategy exercise soon to look beyond what we have already planned. There are 9 programs. They address the various areas of opportunity in energy in the context of circular economy, of the paradigma reduce, reuse, recycle. We are very much focused on the reduce aspects. So there are green building regulations raising the standards for new buildings. There is a retrofit program addressing 3,000 buildings, existing buildings. There is energy management addressing the key energy users, the large energy users, so the industrial and the commercial users. There are behavioral programs like efficient appliances meant to promote the adoption of more efficient appliances. Infrastructural programs like a water reuse program, so to collect the sewage, treat it, and reuse it for irrigation and industrial processes. infrastructural programs also related to efficient vehicles with charging stations, the outdoor lighting, street lighting, increasing the network of lighting. So there is a concept of increasing illumination, but also making it more efficient. There are solar programs with renewable energy primarily provided by solar, and waste to energy. That is also one of our programs. Some of it, I will focus on a few of them. In particular, the green building regulations, the water reuse, and the waste to energy. For green building regulations, there has been in 2019 the issuance of BAGGIL. BAGGIL is the green building regulations of Ras Al Khaimah. BAGGIL is the wind tower, the typical construction, the typical element of construction in buildings that allows natural ventilation here in the region. And in BAGGIL, there are requirements of segregation of waste for all buildings. So every building now, there are already 3,000 buildings under construction with BAGGIL, and they have to segregate waste. And the largest buildings also have to recycle at least 25% of their waste on site. For operational management of the buildings, there is also a concept of organic waste management. So the 4- and 5-star hotels, for example, malls, the large food producers have to have to make a business case for the installation of a composter or a digester, liquefier of organic waste. This is then with an obligation to implement if the payback time is less than 7 years. There is also at the level of, so this is the level of buildings, but then at the level of communities, we have guidelines for sustainable communities that we are now implementing on a new development. And these have some mandatory and voluntary requirements requiring recycling of construction waste in the site, requiring the creation also for the community of recycling centers, so that residents will have the possibility to recycle waste on site. This is for communities. Sorry, there is. I was pushing the wrong button. Sorry. This is for communities. Then there is the concept of irrigation made with the reused water. So today, 100% of the green areas of the city of the Emirate are irrigated with reused water. Reused water is monitored to a variety of indicators. We are trying to make also the use of the water more efficient. There is an efficient irrigation program. Today we have 30% of the total network that is efficiently irrigated, means automated. There is still a gap. There are still some gaps. For example, about 30% of the waste is thrown into the sea, so it's not or evaporated. So we have to utilize it more, and this is related also, goes in correlation with the development of the network for distribution of reused water. Anyway, this is probably the best example that we have there of a complete cycle of water. And then for waste to energy, also there has been some interesting development. Probably Ras Al Khaimah is probably the emirate with the highest share of energy today produced with waste. It is we reuse waste such as camel waste or tires in cement factories, in cement kilns, and this makes today about 1.4% of the total primary energy requirements of Ras Al Khaimah. We are looking also at the future, so also, if you want to take a screenshot of those, we have recently issued a viewpoint on the next frontier of energy efficiency in the GCC. So where we identify 10 game changers, 10 game changers that would allow to unlock the potential of energy efficiency, renewable energy in the region. You can find also our annual report there and know more of everything we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Sami Najjar. I am the CEO of Stignergy, and I will present you our solution called SEMS, Smart Energy Management System. And I will explain for you why it's smart. So for the, I think, for the industrial and the services sectors, so it's the professional consumers of electricity. There is an important parameter for the billing. It's the peak demand. And generally that represent a third of the billing part. And our first objective is to reduce this peak demand. In professional installation, we will associate one module, electronic module, our module, electronic module, we call terminal. And for each big consumer that we will choose as compressor, air compressor or cooling compressor, for heating, ventilation, and more. Each terminal communicates with the other terminals, a set of data as status of charge and other information. And thanks to an algorithm that embedded in each terminal, they take decision, a local decision to piloting the associated equipment. And each local decision resulting of the collective intelligence participates in the peak demand reduction. So there is no computer or automate to take decision. Each terminal have an intelligence to analyze the information received from the other terminals and he can a local decision. So we have a decentralized system with, so it's robust when one equipment or one terminal it's failed, so the other of the system continue to work. In addition, we have other module called Gateway that collects all exchanged data between the terminals and send them to the remote server to provide services for our customers as addition of analyze the curve, we can do the statistics and analysis. We can do the monitoring of the equipment to detect failures of the equipment or to make preventive maintenance. So we have many applications and our customers ask us if we can add some specific application for us, so we do it. This is an example of our implementation of SAMS. It's in the food industry that's called Sylvanco in Switzerland. And we do this project in partnership with Romand Energy. It's the big supplier, the big supplier of energy in Switzerland-speaking French part. And Le Clancher, because in this project we added our intelligence to manage the charge and discharge of the battery. And the battery, it's charged by the photovoltaic production generated locally. So in this factory, it's a food factory, there is 150 people, they work, and an average of 200 electrical equipment. When we analyzed the installation, as you see, there is only 14 equipment that influence the peak, and they represent 63% of the peak. So we don't need to control and pilot all electrical equipment to reduce the peak, but we focus only in the big consumers. So our objective is to create flexibility for the peak shaving, but also to maximize the auto consumption of the generation of the photovoltaic electricity. And we have data to create a virtual charge and offer them to Romand Energy. So it's the DSO, Distributor Service System. And he used this virtual energy for the grid regulation, for the balance of consumption and demand. So this is an example of the equipment in Sylvanco. This is the cooling compressor. We have the waste water treatment station, air compressor. There is the photovoltaic, there is the battery with the inverter. And the result, thanks to our system, that 38% must be injected in the grid. So we charge it in the battery and used to the peak shaving and to maximize the auto consumption. And in this example, we have 100% auto consumed locally. And the amortization of our system and the battery, it's about seven years for open 25 years if we haven't our intelligence. Thank you very much for your attention.
I think you have to scroll because of PDF. So, perfect. Thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Thomas. I'm CTO and co-founder of LTSAG. We are based in Switzerland. Maybe now we have to switch from all this waste and energy into traffic, which is also a part of a smart city. So how we start? We start 4 years ago in a discussion with the city of Zurich. As you know, in front of each signal light or whatever, you have induction loops installed, which controls signal lights, which count cars, which control the traffic and all that stuff. And if you have to install this, you see on the right side, if you have to install these induction loops, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of civil work, and it's not easy to replace them. So this is a big problem. This was the challenge. And what we did to solve this kind of issue, we replaced this existing technology with a sensor, which is based in the middle of the street and do the same like an induction loop. It's not like the old system which says it's true or false, like it's black and white, so we can provide much more data. How many cars, what type of car, how wide, how long is the car, and all this information to provide better data to avoid problems like traffic jams and all this stuff. After we saw the problem on the streets, we saw the same problem also into the parking business, because space is limited in big cities. It depends where you live, but it's limited with roads and also with parking lots. So you have to manage this space better. You have to control them, and you have give access to this information. This is a big problem, because right nowadays, if I type into my navigation system, I have to go to Main Street 10 in Zurich, for example, it's always the last mile, because I arrive by time in Zurich, but then I start to find the parking space for around 20 minutes, and then I'm too late. From my hometown until to Zurich, I need 30 minutes. When I arrive in Zurich, I need 30 more minutes to find a parking space. Just to have some numbers or insights, in Germany, for example, in Frankfurt, which is a big city, the average people there need 70 up to 80 hours a year to find a parking space. If you calculate this each working days, it takes you a half hour per day to find a parking space. Then you have also other problems like carbon emissions, waste of time, and all this stuff. You can switch to the next one. Yes, I have just 2 slides. It's easier to explain this. So on the right side, you will see one sensor which is installed in the city of Zurich. So what's the benefit of this sensor? The benefit is the sensor is completely energy self-sufficient, so there is no battery inside of this sensor. And this was a big problem in the past, because all these sensors, the lifetime of these sensors depends on the amount of signals which you send. And on a parking space, you cannot say there are 5, 10, or 20 cars a day. On the street, especially not. We count in Zurich over 20,000. Now we are going into a project into London. We have to count over 100,000 cars a day. And this was a big problem, because I cannot replace, if I have installed 1,000 sensors in Zurich, I cannot replace 1,000 batteries in a year. That's not possible. So that's the USP. We have a patent on this technology, and we are the only one who providing the solution for the streets. And as I said before, you can use the sensor for different applications, but in the end of the day, it's not just a hardware solution, it's also a software solution. We provide you with information. We got one inquiry from Dubai here. It was at the airport in Dubai, and they have the problem that they have traffic jams, because you have different levels, and then the taxi come, and they don't know in which level they have to drive. Or same in Dubai Mall, I wait 30 minutes for a taxi. And then they told me, what's the proof of concept for providing this information? It's easy. If I call a Uber at Dubai Mall, it takes 2 or 3 minutes, because I can choose my location. If I want a taxi, I have to wait 30 minutes in the line. And same here. If I know which taxis are staying at which place and how long they need, then I can provide this information to the right partner and give them access to. And what we are not doing is we are not going to develop an app which you have to download, and then you can find your parking space, because that will not work. That's the reason why Uber works, because it doesn't matter if I'm Dubai, Los Angeles, Miami, I can use Uber wherever I am. What we do is we provide this kind of information to the navigation system provider, which provides the data directly into your car. So it means if you type your final destination into your navigation system, we will tell you 2 minutes before you arrive. We will calculate also the traffic situation, how big is the chance that you get a parking space. And then we will tell you, okay, this is the nearest one, you have a 2-minute walking distance. And if we can reduce this time, we can also save carbon emission, we can save a lot of time, and we can provide better solution for smart cities. Because I think the challenge in a smart city, it's not just to provide technology, it's also to provide technology and software to combine this solution. Because you cannot build a smart city by your own, you have to connect it to other solutions. That's the way how we think, and that's how it works. So that's it in this case. You see on the right side also some parking applications, so it's easy. Either you can install the sensor on a road to control a traffic light. It's replaceable in 2 minutes. In If you compare to an induction loop, it takes you a half day to replace an induction loop. You have to close the road, you have traffic jam. If you want to replace the sensor, it takes you 2 minutes and it's done. And for example, here, as I saw, you have in Switzerland, we have mostly just 2 lanes, not more, 2 or 3. Here you have 8 lanes, or in London the same. Some you have big highways. If in the United States, 30% of all induction loops are not working, but you cannot replace them because you cannot close a road in Manhattan for a half day. That's not possible. That's the reason why in the United States so much induction loop doesn't work. And same story here. If you have the sensor, you can replace it in 2 minutes. You don't have to close any roads, and it's easier to manage. And I think we are living in the 21st century. We don't need these cables anymore. It's just a way of thinking, how the people think, but it's very easy to replace. So that's our solution. If you have further questions, feel free to ask. We are still here. We have also an exhibition place downstairs. And thank you for your attention.
Take a seat, take the microphone with you, because that's the microphone you will need. Okay. Yeah, sure. No order. Okay, we have about half an hour for discussion. I would like to also open it to the public, but I sort of have 3 topics and address them to different people. Circularity. The first one is a little bit about technology, maybe the second one about business, and the third one about governance. But circularity, what are the limitations to circularity? You know, I mean, Roni, I want to start with you. You know, there is entropy law exists. We use energy. I put deliberately energy in the middle, you know, and sort of two things. One is we still need energy for everything. And you know, what struck me in your presentation was the 2%. We have the highest, and that generates 2% of the electricity consumed here, you know. Is there enough waste even to produce the electricity? So what are the limits, the technological, physical limits to circularity?
First of all, waste to energy is kind of renewable energy, and it's not only one technology for renewable energy. We have solar, we have wind, we have a lot of things. It's a part of the renewable energy innovation technology. Of course, if we take Dubai, we have around 10,000 tons of garbage per day, and then we are treating around 40%. If we want to treat the whole waste, 10,000, we are going to generate 5 or 6%.
Okay.
With this amount, we cannot, with the garbage is not the key factor to generate electricity. It's really to protect the environment and make use of this waste, of this energy, and then put it in the grid, that's all.
Anybody else on the physical side, Anita?
Yeah, I'm going to support Roni in what he just said. The Swiss landfill itself, which receives the municipal solid waste, is receiving over 8,000 tons a day. By the time the plant is up and running, and hopefully it will continue moving forward at the pace it is now, to take 5,000 tons a day, I will still be remaining 4,000 or 5,000 tons a day. Our objective, and Roni's objective, is not to create more waste so that we can create more energy. The fact is that the waste, if it's more efficient and separated and segregated properly, his plant can be more efficient, the landfill can be reduced, we can actually generate power from digesters for the organic portion. There are many, many options that can go hand in hand. His technology will not make the landfill close. The landfill closing will not increase him, but everything working together and the closure of that landfill and maybe putting solar on top or covering it with grass and doing something else with it, making it into a park, there are many, many technologies, and the point of this is that they all have to hold hands and work together. We have to support each other. And waste reduction is not going to hurt his business, and it's not going to hurt my business. It's going to benefit both of us, and it will benefit the society and the community.
No, I think we fully agree on on that. It's not,
And yes, there is enough waste. There's lots of
okay,
waste.
there's enough waste. So, but
A
the
lot.
first part of the question I'll turn to is really about, we cannot be totally or self-sufficient. I mean, Sami, I mean, you're shaving the peaks, okay, but there's still electricity, Or maybe Emmanuel, you can also you're making it more efficient, but there still will be cars. So what is the limitation? How far we can go? I know, Anita, and I'll come back. We reduce consumption, but how far are we from exploiting the capacity of technology to become? Are we 10% and we can get more, or are we already at 50%? What is really the potential of the untapped potential we have today? That's a little bit my question. Or maybe go ahead, Ramzi.
Simply, I think that we're at the lower end and we have a huge untapped potential.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'll let you.
Yeah, Anita is right. The potential is unlimited. Actually, the limit is here in our mindset. And again, we talked before about the human factor. And I think this is our limit, because we are in Switzerland, we have been nominated the most innovative country in the world. It doesn't mean generating innovation is adopting innovation. And that's a very important point. So I'm very proud of my country, Switzerland, but I'm not sure we are the most adaptive country in the world in terms of innovation. So conservative mindset is the first and the only barrier to move towards a sustainable future.
Anybody else on this? I don't know. Sami, yeah.
For me, for the electricity, I think also there is no limitation. For example, if one day we use the supraconductor of all equipment, so we need a very, very small quantity of electricity to the functionality of cooling and air compressor. So there is no limitation.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's the limitation. The problem, I don't think, is technology. Technology is available. There are technological solutions. It is about, in my opinion, just an evolution of priorities. This place, the GCC, started working on sustainability probably 10, 15 years ago. And first, the priority has been saving, cost, impact, having a direct, immediate business case for the economy as a whole. And now the priority is shifting. I think the fact itself that the country committed to a 2050 net zero emission target means a shift in focus from economic, from a direct, competitiveness objective into a climate change objective. And this will drive then a series of strategies that are, I think, much more impactful in terms of circular economy than the ones that have been pursued until now.
No, I'm sure. And I want to come back at the end about, the governance of it and all that and the policies. But I don't know, Emmanuel, I don't know. It's a little bit provocative to you, I mean, you're optimizing, but we still have cars. You're just optimizing an industry that actually shouldn't exist.
It's absolutely not. From our point of view, it's an existing market. We don't have to go into a new market. We just replace something old with something new. And as Ramzi said before, to be innovative, it's one thing, but to adopt in a country, it's another thing. And we had the same problem in Switzerland. We did our first project outside of Switzerland, because sometimes they say, hey, we need first a proof of concept and all this stuff. but in my opinion, it's not the topic about adopting technology, it's just competing with the big ones in lobbies. Because if we, for example, I was in Abu Dhabi yesterday, met some guys, and I was on an intersection, on a crossroad, and it don't make sense. They count by time here. They count, they say each way you have to wait 60 seconds. It makes no sense. If there are 200 cars on this lane and 2 on this lane, they don't have to wait 60 seconds. So, you know, it's just about how you connect things and how you do the stuff and do dynamic things. And in my opinion, it's just sometimes you need just some project to show them, hey, it works. That's also in Switzerland. You have to do it in Zurich, and then all the other places will say, oh, okay, it works in Zurich, we should do the same. And that's how it works. But I think it's not it's just a challenge in your mind, or changing something minds. It's not a challenge about the market.
Yeah, I mean, it's we'll leave this topic, but we always hit the same Swiss, just a little Swiss thing. We are very innovative, and then we cannot roll out because mindset, and you know. But so I think my next point, and maybe we can start with Ramzi or Sami, you know, is more about economics. Business model, digitalization allows for a much more, and Emmanuel, you show it, Ramzi, you show it, you know, digitalization, Sami, you show it, how digitalization allows for a more integrated, more systemic view for other new business models, okay? So let's talk a little bit about the business case behind it. I mean, I'll come to policy later. We need policies and we need drive and vision and all that, but there needs to also be a business, no?
Yes. Without a viable business case, you actually, or unfortunately, there is no sustainability, at least today, with the mindset we were talking about just before. So to make it viable, we have to go to pay-per-use business models, actually paying only what I consume, pay for what I pollute, pay for what I'm demanding or what I'm wasting. And then actually, just to give you some insights about that, in our country, most of the time we don't pay for the water we consume. It's not based on our single consumption. It's based on our square meter surface, so surface-based billing. So, of course, this kind of business model leads to more than 20% of waste because my neighbor is saving and then he's paying for me. So if we are still in that mindset, if we are still in that business model, it can't work. So the business model has to adapt and make it pay-per-use to be fair, to be transparent. It's very important. Fair and transparent is a way to move towards a more sustainable future. That's
and
for me.
yeah, I don't know, Sami. Yeah, you know, I mean, you ultimately there are new business models.
Yes. When we start in the first commercialization in 2013, there is no drivers or low drivers to encourage to implement management of energy. So when we asked the first customers, and we say we can make amortization of the system between 2 to 3 years, for the most of our customers in Switzerland, they rich, and the electricity represent 1% of, they said to us, they represent 1% of our chiffre d'affaires incomes. So there is no interest, financial interest for. After that, with the liberalization of the market of energy, there is many law and rules, and for us it's a very good driver, because the importance is not really the money, but the energy consumption, the pollution, the CO2, the footprint of environment, and they changed. So we are we have a lot of demand and projects because the law they changed, and there is a very drive. So for us, it's okay.
Anita, yeah.
So I'm going to add the UAE perspective. I'm not local Emirati, but I've lived here, and this project was started here, even though I'm from Canada. So I came here with the misconception that what we're doing in Canada or Europe can be done here very easily because it makes sense, which is doesn't really follow what path I have followed and what path I have been led to follow. So we have to look at all of these technologies and all of these solutions in a regional glasses on our head. What works in Switzerland possibly could work here, but it has to be adapted regionally. And if it's not, then you end up spinning your wheels for many, many years. Should landfills be degassed? And I go back to landfills because I'm the queen of garbage, so that's what happens to me. But should landfills be degassed? Absolutely, they should be. Are they degassed everywhere in the world? Yes, they are, but not here. So we pioneered the first landfill gas project. Can it generate power? Because landfill gas is 55 to 60% methane. Absolutely it can. There is no legislation, no regulations, no government incentive. Nobody pays for the waste that they're dumping. I mean, Russell Khaimah will say differently, but that is coming into place. It's going to be charged in Dubai as well. But everything comes down to economics and the region that you live in. So you have to adapt your technologies to fit the regional circle. No, don't bring a square peg of Europe and try and push it into that circular peg of Dubai. It won't work. So if we can adapt, and if we can educate, and if we can stay strong and focused and keep being positive, which is what I try to be, then we will reach someplace. And happily, adopting all of these technologies together ends up helping all of us together.
Roni, you want to
Roni,
add something?
I mean,
you
Yes, exactly.
maybe a little bit provocatively, but you show all these nice pictures, you know. But I think it's the same technology. Design is very different, you know. But
No,
is only the design changing?
No,
and
no.
that is my provocation.
The waste
sorry.
what we generate in Switzerland is not the same what we generate here. Here we have over 20% is organic waste, but we have a lot of plastic here. You know, but the technology, you know, what Anita is saying, it's really very important. It was for us a big challenge to bring the Swiss technology in Dubai. So are very well-educated people, innovative people, no doubt. But we cannot take the same business model what we have in Switzerland, put it here. We need to adapt a lot. And with our innovation technology, we were able really to make this project happen. Because as you know, we have a system in Switzerland. I pay money for my garbage. I pay what I produce. In Germany is a lump sum price. The reason why Germany is that generate more waste. In here, I'm paying nothing. And we have they have a lot of waste. How we can make this kind of business model bankable, and we need to be innovative. We need, of course, we have the highest efficient plant here because we know from the electricity we can get more revenue, and we need to be very, very innovative. And unfortunately, it took us 7 years to make this project happen.
It's a paradigm change that we're trying to.
Okay, can we? I don't know, Emmanuel, you want to add something because you're just in the beginning of getting adapted to, but
If I
yeah.
I mean, we have the luck that all the streets are the same. It doesn't matter if I'm in here or in Switzerland. It's always, if you have a look on this market, there are always 2 or 3 big companies over the world. they are operating here, they're operating in Asia, in the United States, so that's not a big market. It's a big market in volume, but not in players. So that's the reason why for us it was really easy to adopt, because we had to talk to mostly to the European guys, and it was not a big thing. The only challenge we had to adopt here is really that we had to change our mind of how we discuss with the people and how we bring them the advantage more in front, because they are really, in Switzerland it's not that easy, or in the European country, to talk about smart cities, because it's not so easy for them to connect these parts. And here in Dubai, it was built in a short period of time, the whole city, everything is in the right stage, and it's easier to do stuff here. And then we had just the challenge of how we give them the advantage regarding the city of Dubai, because in Switzerland it's not the same. You cannot install sensors wherever you want, sometimes legal reasons or whatever, and here it's easier to adopt. It's much more easier, but as I said before, streets are streets, it doesn't matter. Same technology. And if you just drive a taxi, just look on the roads, you will see them everywhere. I have seen them before I started this business. I have never seen an induction loop, and as I started, there are thousands of induction loops all over the street. And it's always the same. And it's always the same companies. There are mostly two big ones in the world.
Okay, Ramzi still, and then we'll move to the last topic.
Just to add something on the business model, actually I talked a bit during my stay here with people about how they use water, because actually DY is doing a great job to provide drinking grade water to the building. And what happens for most of the towers here, they tank that water and then they have to pump it to bring it to the highest floors. And actually that drinking water, which is good, then is no more good because it's stored, and not appropriately stored because the tank is not appropriately maintained and all those things. So you end up with drinking this water, which is 3,500 more impactful in terms of environment than drinking the water from the tap. And then the business model actually is working that way, but it's not a sustainable business model. So how we can change that, if DY is investing a huge money to bring that water into the buildings, but at the end people are not drinking it because they buy bottled water. So there is a huge improvement here to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, very shortly, please, yeah. Roni, you want to?
For us, we create value. We reduce the big demand and we reduce energy, so we create value for the customer. What we propose now, and it's very famous in Switzerland, is that called contracting system. So the customer not pay for the installation, the technology, and there is a partner that he pay for the technology and receive the economy and give one bonus for the customer. So when we create value, it's easy to integrate a system of, for example, energy management.
Okay, you can give the mic to Andrea right next to you, because now I would like to go. I mean, I think it has been said by all of you, we need legislation, we need the right incentives, we need for politics to set the stage, and I mean, Andrea, for your whole presentation is about that, the plans, the vision of the government to create these kind of things that then allow for business models, that then allow for technology to be used. So maybe you can
Yes, absolutely. Technology is available. We know technology is available. And the driver, in my opinion, of change is making sure that everyone in the value chain has an incentive to make a change. I don't believe much in awareness per se, awareness of sustainability, general awareness. I believe in awareness once a business case is there for the person to operate. Awareness of making him aware that there is a positive business case for you. So what we should look at is the different components of circular economy. Now, for energy, the field is my field, this happens quite naturally. I mean, there is already a business case without need of legislation. Solar power today is reaching 1 cent per kilowatt hour in the large solar plants. CSP
but sorry to interrupt, but we need liberalization so that you can actually sell that energy, you know?
Yes, so there are some bottlenecks. There are some bottlenecks also we mentioned in our viewpoint. For example, access to the grid, access to distributed renewables, the possibility to generate your own energy and use the grid to distribute. Yes, there are things to work on, absolutely. But I believe the energy field somehow has an advantage over other fields. Single-use plastics, there was somebody mentioning this before. Today, there is no business case for the user to reduce the use of bottles, to reduce the single-use bags. There is no business case. So it's useless that we keep, in my opinion, insisting on awareness. It's not about that. In my opinion, it's about making sure that everyone who goes to a supermarket and asks for a bag, or goes to a bakery and asks for a bag, finds this bag more expensive than other alternatives, or less available than other alternatives. So this is what we need to work on, and I think now that the priority is shifting, you know, to those more environmental topics. This will be I think one of the next steps.
Okay, I think you provoked Anita a little bit, and
No, it's okay.
no. It's very good because I sort of want to. Yes, somehow I agree with you, but then on the other hand, you need the people's awareness to push a little bit the politicians to do the things, you know, and then we have another circular kind of thing. So, Anita.
So absolutely, you touched on two things that made me jump a little bit. One of them, solar power. We live in a desert and it's sunny. The last time it rained was 18 months ago in Dubai. That's insane. So of course there is sun, but there's also high humidity. There's also a lot of dust, and that does cover the solar panels. The efficiency is not the same. And solar power is not like landfill gas to energy. It's not like landfill gas power. Landfill is a baseload power. It doesn't fluctuate. It's boring. It's stable. It's like the gas engines that you're running most of the country with. Are we going to get rid of fossil fuels? No. We shouldn't even think about getting rid of fossil fuels forever because that won't happen. But what we should do is diversify. And we should enable each renewable technology on its own merits to have its own legislation. I cannot, here, power is a monopoly. It's run by the government. I cannot go to the government and say, I have a landfill that can produce 25 megawatts baseload power, 25 megawatts an hour, 365 days a year, and for him to turn to me and say, oh, well, we're paying 1.5 cents for solar, so we'll pay you 1.5 cents. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because landfill gas to energy is not solar power. It's different. So there is an education process that needs to happen. And even if it is happening, there has to be some type of a regulation that enables renewable energy to be part of the diversified mix and all renewables. So should the landfills be closed? Yes. Should they be covered with solar? Yes. The solar power should be paid differently. The landfill gas power should be paid differently. The roads should have the type of infrastructure that every time you go on a running track, you're generating power. That power should be connected to the grid. Everything needs to be connected to the grid. Otherwise, we will never reach the 2050 targets or the 2070 targets.
Okay, I
You
think
said
that.
something else too, but that was it.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
wait, Ramzi
God.
first, everybody. Okay, this is the good discussion, and that's also for the public if you have any questions. We have to finish.
I think
to-
we're on the right
Yeah.
track, but there still needs to be a lot of government support.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Totally right. I'm jumping a bit because there is actually a huge business case. This bottle costs maybe 1,000 more than if you can drink it from the tap, actually. For the end user, it's more affordable to drink the water from the tap than buying this bottle.
Yeah, but for the bottle producers, it's more affordable to do.
We then...
Sometimes it's filled with tap water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, you about this point. But if I come back to regulation, and we need regulation in many aspects. We need regulation, but also we need the awareness to drive and move this regulation to the right direction. We have seen even in our countries, but in UAE is the same. You have a regulation for water grid and drinking water, but you put it in a tank and there is a service provider that is no more regulated. He can put that water in that tank, store it for I don't know how many days, no monitoring, maybe harmful storage, and there is no regulation.
That's why there is no business case today.
Okay,
That's
Roni,
why. Exactly.
Roni, and then Andrea, and then we'll take a few questions from the public, and you get to conclude.
Okay, let me conclude in general.
No, not yet, but
Look, we are building plant in the whole world, in India, in Africa, everywhere. My own experience here in the UAE, so UAE people like their country and they wish the best for their country. They think long term. UAE people, they want really the best. That's what I'm seeing. Why I'm telling that? They never, Dubai government, they never build the waste to energy. It's first things. In Switzerland, it took us 30 years to build a plant, to put a legal framework. But this country understood this technology or the waste, they need to do something with the waste. And they choose the best technology. Legal framework to put it in their place, it took 7 months. So I went with them to Tokyo, to Japan. We went to the Swiss government, to Bern. We went to UK. We went to Germany. They made a conclusion and they put the best legal framework here to fit. I give you one example. If I want to build waste-to-energy project in Switzerland, to get the building permit, it takes me like 2 years. Here, we took 4 months. Because they know what they want the best, and it is really, really very, very impressed. They're creative people, very, very creative people. Okay, now your topic, his topic, it's general business case, but I'm telling it general how the people here are creative. I never saw people, they love their country, what I'm seeing here, because it was intensive discussion with Dubai government, as Dubai Municipality, Department of Finance, legal department of Dubai government, DIWA. It's really, if they want something, they make it happen, and pioneer in short time.
If they want something, it happens here very clearly, very smoothly, and it is a country that celebrates innovation, and it does move forward. So I am very hopeful. Don't take any of my comments as being negative, but it does take a lot of talking and education to get all renewables. So,
but
I mean,
Andrea still, no, I think the purely technical point of view is I look at this from a technical point of view. We have a technology, we have a business case, but we need technically a legal framework that allows for it, Now, politics gets into a way, but if you can approach this in a more technical manner, you can devise the technical framework that goes with the solutions.
I agree. I think you mentioned also access to the grid. These are technical aspects. So when I said we need to look at business cases, I think we need to look at every single participants in this value chain and examine each of them, how to make them participate. For renewable energy, it's about allowing access to the grid, rewarding for injections into the grid, so that people have an incentive to generate. For waste, for single-use plastics, for bags, it's about looking at alternatives and making sure that people who use a single a bag today lose the incentive to use the bag. For the bottled water, it is the same. Creating an alternative of water supply that is considered reliable, consistently reliable, everywhere in 100% of the places. Because if it is 80% of the places, 90% of the places, then people don't trust it. No? So these are things to, in my opinion, to do. It's a very broad spectrum of intervention, of policy intervention, and it needs to be done. Now, as I said, the shift in focus towards climate change is an occasion for this region to evolve very quickly, no? in the direction of circular economy. It's just a natural step. It started 10, 15 years ago with some basic intervention, and now it's a moment to accelerate.
Okay, thank you. That's why we call this the governance of large urban, the governance from a technical point of view. We need these systems to be governed. Let's take a series of questions, and then each of you gets to conclude. Karl-Heinz was first, you next, Fadi. I'll take them all together, and then you can answer to the question Karl-Heinz.
Okay, I'm Karl-Heinz, representing a Swiss company called Renergon. We are in the business of anaerobic digestion. And I have 2 points I would like to mention here. I'm afraid it's too much discussion after this, but I'm trying to focus on. So the headline here is circular economy and closing loops. But what I'm completely missing in that case is, it's clear we talk about water. Water is important, but the second important is food. But nobody mentioned, when we are really closing loops, the nutrients. We need the nutrients, and when we're talking about waste to energy, we are damaging the nutrients. But the nutrients are important, nutrients and topsoil, to produce food. So that's one issue, because why I don't like so much the impression of waste to energy. We forget the nutrients. It's very important. The second one is, to be honest, and don't hate me, but I don't like to call waste to energy or to call incineration as a renewable energy, because I don't see a difference between taking the oil, running an engine, a car, which we are about now to forbid. We would like to go to electricity. I don't see the difference in taking the oil, producing plastic, and then burn it in an incineration plant. So that's, for me, I think that's not really renewable energies.
Roni, wait, can you keep it, I'll just, because of run of time, but keep this and answer Karl-Heinz after that. No, she was first. Oh, the order, and then Fadi, and then you.
Just 2 comments about the regulation. Because there's always a double-edged sword to regulation. And right now there isn't an enforcement of a regulation like requiring landfill gas for landfills to be degassed. Because the minute the UAE, we have discussed this so much in the UAE, the minute that law passes, you cannot count the carbon credit at a landfill. So that's why it's like maybe yes, maybe no. But as far as like the food waste and extended producer responsibility for bottles, electronic waste, all of that is coming. The Ministry of Climate Change has worked with all of the Emirates for the past 5 years. And so it's called the 2035 National Integrated Solid Waste Management Plan. And it was supposed to be approved right when COVID hit. But that strategy is with the Prime Minister's office. So we expect something to be coming out fairly soon.
Thanks. Fadi?
Fadi Bayoud, EPFL Middle East, where we are in Ras Al Khaimah as well. I'm not a specialist in what you discussed, but I have a question from the observer's point of view. You mentioned that from the plant in Dubai, you will produce 2% of the Dubai electricity. So we are, even if we gather all the waste, we'll go up to 5, 6. So we still need 20 times more to cover the overall electricity. So there will be a lot of leakage then in the circular economy. So how can we fill the 100%? If it's not 100%, so it does mean that we will never, ever get rid of the fossil fuel to run our cities.
Last question, or is anybody still on the list? Okay,
Okay,
last
thank you.
questions, then we conclude on
My
the
name
panel.
is Adib Aboud. Thank you for presentations. I just want to ask, I agree with...
Take the mic to your mouth.
Okay, I agree with what the gentleman said about the potential in waste itself, which is too bad if we go and directly waste to energy it. But also I have an observation which I would like your comment on it. Where, for example, plastics, okay, there's a lot of potential. Even if we incinerate it, there's a lot of demand for plastics, since most of the products around us are made of plastic. And in plastic waste, there's potential for recycling. And we all know that they can go through different cycles. But we discussed earlier, actually, with the final destination. This bottle can be recycled if it's broken down, maybe 5 to 7 times. Then what? Then I guess maybe the best solution for its final destination is to incinerate it. Is it okay, for example, to create a recycling loop where each product can be exploited in its potential to be recycled? Then the waste to energy method can be the final destination, and to get rid of once the waste have reached all its potential, actually.
Okay, I think Samantha has, you know, an answer directly to this, and then I'll go through the panel. So.
Yeah, so sorry, just to address the question quickly, I understand the breakdown of plastic and that there's only a certain amount of times that you can use it. But actually you can use chemical recycling because, and this is what we do, because if you break it down into the raw material, you can theoretically recycle it an unlimited amount of time. Yeah, exactly. And so if you choose chemical recycling of the material that, so let's say you go with mechanical recycling first for the bottles, and then it gets to the point where you just can't do it anymore with that item, you could chemically recycle it back and then start the process from square one again. So there is that option.
You're absolutely right. Sorry, we cannot, I think you can continue a discussion, you know, but there was one last question and then we conclude, please, shortly.
Okay, at first you all mentioned the point of it needing, there is a compromise to be made, that is needed to be made economically, since circular economy can't be achieved 100%. And you mentioned this point in your presentation and you emphasized on it. But my question is, who do you think should be making that compromise economically? Should it be the companies or should it be the potential buyers? For example, we have our startup about recycling PP and PE pellets, and right now we are able to be selling them at a discount because we are the only one in the market. But down the road, we will need to increase our prices to sustain ourselves. So who do you think should be making that economical compromise? Should it be the user, or should it be the company who is producing, or should the buyer say, I'm buying this for the environment, so I should buy it at a higher price and I should accept that? Is there a way we can all divide the cost between ourselves? Like, how is this achieved? Thank you.
Okay, I think that's a general question to everybody. I
think we have enough fuel for the fire.
So yeah, exactly. So I just go around. Roni, you're first, and then, you know, each of you answer the kind, or you make a final statement. We conclude.
Sorry, I need to leave in 5 minutes. I have another meeting, but very quick to answer the gentleman questions. We have CompoCast technology. We have anaerobic digestion. We have in Switzerland 16 plants. Worldwide, we have over 100 plants. What he's saying, I'm fully aligned with him. Organic waste don't belong to the municipal solid waste. What we do in Switzerland and everywhere in Europe, we already separate home. We go to the composting, anaerobic digestion. We know what we do, which can generate heat, power, or make me upgrade from the gas. We can generate methane, and fully aligned. But the issue here in the UAE, it's in the Dubai, we had this discussion with the Director General of Dubai Municipality. As you know, we have in the UAE, we have in Dubai especially, over 160 nationality. We told him, okay, look, we have over 1,000 tons per day organic waste. It just make more sense to have an anaerobic digestion. It's more 100-degree circular economy, good. We can make a compost. We can use it in the garden. The issue here was telling how to educate my people here. We are all expats here. And we are not from Europe, only from Europe. We have people from India, from Africa, everywhere. It takes time. And it takes least 5 years, 10 years. If you put now the legal framework here to separate home, it takes at least 5 years. But Dubai government, he cannot, what to do with this waste? They have a problem with this waste, the landfill mountain of the waste. Issue, protect the environment, reduce the waste volume, and then the request from Dubai government, please build for me innovative technology that in 10 years or in 5 years, if I can take the plastic out, organic waste, I can treat the other waste. And the reason how we have a very flexible technology, we can accept waste low calorific value, 7 megajoule till 14 megajoule. That's the idea from Dubai government. They have a master plan in place, and then they are aiming in 5 years, 10 years to come to the anaerobic digestion technology.
Thank you. Roni, if you have to leave, then you leave. But we wanted to do a nice photo shooting after the end, but no way. Okay, Ram.
Yeah, thank you. I won't answer directly to specific question, but I think we agree that there will be a trade-off. Climate change is a trade-off issue. We have to make trade-offs. We won't be able to solve completely and fully zero emission this problem. We have to. Second, I will take the example of the Sabil fountain. It is used in UAE or in the Middle East since centuries. We didn't invent the water dispensing station today. It has been already invented centuries ago. And that way of using water, and come back to water, sorry, it's my blood, that's the most sustainable way to use water. So just by being educated or aware of refilling just water with with this bottle, I'm doing a better choice, more affordable and more sustainable than buying this bottle and using it in single-use way. So basically, I will conclude with that, it's all about us, how we make the decisions, the right decisions, because finally he can make plans, but at the end I have to sort my waste, I have to reduce my waste, and this is up in my choices.
So
thank you.
That nicely goes to Anita, right?
Yes, I agree with everything that you said, and to briefly touch on the gentleman, the problem, I don't want to say the problem, the issue is that we are sitting in a room of people that understand. We understand basically what we're saying. We have to now preach to the masses. We have to have conversations like this in the middle of Dubai Mall, where regular citizens can come and stand up and say, but where do I throw my garbage? All of us here can look in our own homes, in our own garbage bins, and see the mistakes that we are doing ourselves because the proper infrastructure, even if it exists, is not clearly available. The Al-Qusais landfill receives municipal solid waste, and 60% of that waste is organic, carbon-based waste. Should there be a digester? Absolutely. It could be the hugest digester built in the world, but unless the population is properly separating their waste, and there is source separation and segregation of the waste that's happening properly, none of this will happen. So we can't blame the technologies that are coming here. I don't personally think burning all the waste all at one time is a right choice. I think that that's not the right thing to do. But I think that people need to step outside the box, think, okay, Hitachi Zosen has an amazing technology, and if it joins with this and this and this, it can become even better. And then make the government make the choice easier, make it easier for the government, make sustainability easy, make it simpler. And that's my big message. Like we will always need fossil fuels, but we shouldn't need as much of it, and we should support each other and speak out in the public.
Thanks. Great. Sami.
Yeah, I think regulation, it's very important to regulate the waste. So that's it.
Okay. Andrea?
Well, one last comment. I mean, now we have a very high level of ambition. The 2050 target now, brings us to another scale of deployment, and this is fantastic. In my opinion, the way we should reach there is not by means of small little steps. It's not about every little things count. No, every little thing counts. If everybody of us saves 1%, we would have saved 1% of the total. So it is about making step changes, and this will happen, in my opinion, with platforms of enablers that will induce each one of us to change its behavior substantially and not just a little bit.
Thanks. No, sorry. There's plenty of this time for discussion after. So, Emmanuel, you have the very last word.
Perfect. So I think we just need to close the circle, and I think sometimes we have to understand that there are guys outside of this area. They're working for their family. They need some food, they need some drinks, and the easiest way is to get and grab a bottle of water. If they want to give them access to other possibilities, you have to replace them once to once. That's the same with the induction loop. If we go to companies like Siemens, I cannot tell him, look, this is our new solution, but you have to add additional stuff. You have to say them, this is the new solution, it replaces your solution one to one, and it's easy to understand. And I think in this case, in my opinion, I understand the point of view, but sometimes we have to understand also the point of view from the other side. Because there's somebody, they're working 8 hours a day, they just want to get some drinks, and if they have to wait to refill the bottle for 2 hours, then it can be a problem. It's not. I think it's a good way to do this, but it needs regulation, and we have to adapt a little bit also and change the mind of them, because it's not that easy that we can just say replace bottles by filling bottles. I think that's definitely not the point.
Okay, thank you very much. We have to conclude. We went 15 minutes overtime, but we started 15 minutes late. So thank you very much, panelists. Please stay here because we want to take a picture, but I give the floor to Dante, and you will come.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming today. I'm afraid we have another event of the rooftop, so we're not able to use it. However, we do have a very nice Sprungli coffee downstairs if you want to have a coffee over there. You're also welcome to... Thank you.